Wicked fellow.
The following is a release from the People's National Party Media Unit.
I am lending my voice to the chorus of outraged Jamaicans who are condemning the vicious assault of a female nurse in a road rage incident. This brutal attack, caught on video, showed the nurse being violently knocked to the ground and stomped on while on her way to work. The attacker has notably since been taken into custody and charged by the police. This incident is really a chilling reminder of the lawlessness and growing disregard for human life that continues to erode public safety. This wasn't just an act of violence, it was an act of savagery. A nurse could have easily lost her life or ended up with permanent injuries. We cannot treat these incidents as just another headline. We must confront this culture of violence head-on, especially when it affects our women and children. I am welcoming the swift response from the police in apprehending and charging the suspect. I also acknowledge the Firearm Licensing Authority, the FLA, for promptly launching an investigation into the reported use of a licensed firearm during the incident. The FLA's investigation is critical. Firearm holders must be held to the highest standard, and any abuse of that privilege must be met with serious consequences. I am expressing solidarity with the Jamaican Nurses Association and the entire healthcare community, many of whom have been calling for greater protection amid growing threats of violence both inside and outside the workplace. We stand with our nurses. We stand with our women. Healthcare workers should never, ever have to fear for their lives simply trying to get to work. This is not the Jamaica we want, and we must not become numb to these horrors. I am reaffirming my commitment to advocating for the safety, dignity, and welfare of all healthcare workers, and justice must not only be done, but must also be seen to be done.
Visit our website at pnp.org.jm or check us out on Facebook.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. Welcome to Portland Spice TV. It's Saturday morning. Happy Sabbath if you're a Sabbath keeper. Meaning if you go to church on Saturday, blessings to you. And if you go to church any other day, bless up. If you know that Jesus Christ is God. It has been a topsy-turvy week. Yeah, we were with you Tuesday, Wednesday. We did a live broadcast of the town hall meeting from West Portland. And let me apologize for those of you who are watching and we lost the feed. Today we don't know what went wrong, but we lost the feed, and you didn't see that presentation from Councillor Hubert Ryan Williams, which was brilliant. And we're going to forget it and post it here so you can see it. But we just played a very sad clip from Dr. Dawes. And, you know, I never realized I had the video in my phone until I was telling the producer about the incident where a motorist physically assault a nurse in uniform, spat in her face, and then beat her to the ground and step in her head. I not even did realize that I have the video in my phone the man step in at the nurse head. I don't know. And then it disappeared. Come like me can't find it back. Come like me can't find it back. The man step. The lady was on the ground. Oh, see it. The lady was on the ground. And the man step in her head. She had tried get up. And him push her down back. Let me see if I can see it. See it? She had tried get up now. Watch him. And step in her head and walk. Eh? I said, this man. No, sir. Never shown her again. She'll try get up now. And I try hold on upon him to get up. Watch him, man. Them same name, Handy Bell. Man, lose that bell name there. Lose it. And there's a picture of him going around. And you see, sometimes it's sad some people see you and want to take picture with you. And you take the picture with him. Because being in a picture with the Prime Minister don't necessarily mean that this man is a friend or even somebody with the Prime Minister know. It don't necessarily mean the Prime Minister know him. Because being courteous, people see you come up to you and want to take picture with you. And you take the picture. But Jesus. The good thing is that information is that he's in custody. And him not forget no bail. And nurse, you must sue him. Your husband must sue him. If you have kids, they must sue him too. And what kind of road rage is that? You're spitting at the woman's face. For those of you just joining me, let me play Dr. Dawes.
The following is a release from the People's National Party Media Unit.
I am lending my voice to the chorus of outraged Jamaicans who are condemning the vicious assault of a female nurse in a road rage incident. This brutal attack, caught on video, showed the nurse being violently knocked to the ground and stomped on while on her way to work. The attacker has notably since been taken into custody and charged by the police. This incident is really a chilling reminder of the lawlessness and growing disregard for human life that continues to erode public safety. This wasn't just an act of violence, it was an act of savagery. A nurse could have easily lost her life or ended up with permanent injuries. We cannot treat these incidents as just another headline. We must confront this culture of violence head on, especially when it affects our women and children. I am welcoming the swift response from the police in apprehending and charging the suspect. I also acknowledge the Firearm Licensing Authority, the FLA, for promptly launching an investigation into the reported use of a licensed firearm during the incident. The FLA's investigation is critical. Firearm holders must be held to the highest standard, and any abuse of that privilege must be met with serious consequences. I am expressing solidarity with the Jamaica Nurses Association and the entire healthcare community, many of whom have been calling for greater protection amid growing threats of violence both inside and outside the workplace. We stand with our nurses. We stand with our women. Healthcare workers should never, ever have to fear for their lives simply trying to get to work. This is not the Jamaica we want, and we must not become numb to these horrors. I am reaffirming my commitment to advocating for the safety, dignity, and welfare of all healthcare workers, and justice must not only be done, but must also be seen to be done.
And visit our website at pnp.org.jm or check us out on Facebook.
Let me tell you something. That man was either drunk or under some coke. That man could not have been in his right mind. That man, in the state that he was in, should not even be driving on the road. Something wrong with him. You know, bad man don't even kill nurse. My big son mother is a nurse. And she used to tell me that when she just finished nursing school, she used to work at public. And any hours of the night, she would have come off of the bus and walk out public. She wouldn't be afraid because if the bad man them even see her, they would have said, "Nursey," and walk behind her, go to the hospital. Jano, I don't know. Hey, that country will lose its way. Terribly, 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 terribly. Good morning and welcome everybody in the chat room. Share up the live, like up the live, click the like button, please, and thank you. Share the live because this morning, hey, Tala, this morning is a serious morning. We're going to have Ralston Iman. And let me tell you one of the reasons why we're having Ralston this morning. Listen this.
That's it. What has changed now so that we can now bring water in a sustainable way to this community? What has changed is that you now have a government that manages the economy well, and then we use those resources, not borrowed resources, we use the resources from the economy to invest in that manages the economy well, and then we use those resources, not borrowed resources, we use the resources from the economy, manages the economy well, and then we use those resources, not borrowed resources, we use the resources from the economy to invest in the infrastructure that delivers the benefit to you.
So, we're going to talk to Ralston this morning about that because you hear the Prime Minister say it now. Him say it again. They're putting in water pipes and he's saying that is not borrowed money. Now, me have an understanding, but do you understand how the consolidated fund works? How the budget works? We're going to be talking to Ralston Iman about that. We're also going to be talking to the Shadow Minister of Local Government, Natalie Nita Garvey. Because I don't know how many of you were with us Wednesday. We had Jesse James Clark on. Because the National Water Commission said they will no longer submit report to the KSMC. Listen to this.
Oh, Matthew Samuda, he's the minister who has responsibility for water. Minister, appreciate you joining us as always. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Dan. Good evening to listeners.
You quoted in the Gleaner saying you support the position of the National Water Commission on this. However, would you support a public authority blatantly disrespecting the local government authority?
Well, I think your premise is flawed, Dan. There's a reality. The law doesn't allow NWC to operate in any way but a transparent manner. The law requires the NWC to report to the OUR, to the Ministry of Health, to BSJ, through the NWRMC. It's an entity that has many reporting layers. There's nowhere in Jamaican law that requires the NWC to report through any parish council. I'm sure you'd agree with such.
And whether or not there is a legal obligation to do so, surely part of good governance must involve participation in the local government process of the municipal corporation that, after all, has such important responsibilities for two of the major parishes in Jamaica.
And when you have a municipal corporation which has caused international harm to Brand Jamaica, to the reputation of the water sector in Jamaica, which is known right throughout Latin America and the Caribbean to be a sound water provider because of misinformation.
We're going to play more of that.
Hold
on, stand up, because we're going to play more of that interview when we are joined by the Shadow Minister of Local Government. But there's a part of this interview that I want you to hear. Listen to this.
Surely you must see that it's problematic to decide to withhold those reports from the elected representatives of the people because you don't like the way in which they treat with the data.
So am I not allowed to speak, having tried 3 or 4 times before?
No, but I was playing. I was playing a clip, Minister. No, but you can't intervene when I'm saying I'm trying to show you.
I also told you the time that I had available.
And if you want to leave, you leave, Minister. But I'm trying to make a point, and
I will within 60 seconds.
I'm sure you will.
Let's just to be clear, the samples taken have nothing to do with the operational efficacy of NWC, meaning NWC finds negative samples every single day in the same way every water commission or every water distributor or every water utility on earth does. When you find a negative sample, you close down a system. You do not distribute water. It is one of the reasons why in every program that accepts calls on RGR, we don't have any water today. One of the reasons that people have dislocation or disruption in their water supply is negative.
All right, so that was Matthew Samuda. Now, I have a message for Anne-Marie Vaz, the Member of Parliament for East Portland. Because, you see, I don't like when people undermine people. And me are slow with this because I want to call the labor right them to the front of the class. Because I have a message for Anne-Marie Vaz. Anne-Marie, Dancing Queen. You see the person who you have do your video them, the person who do the video down at St. Thomas, you need to fire that person. People, listen to the MP from East Portland.
We are here at the Morande Urban Center, and ribbon was just cut by the Prime Minister to open the company. The action team had to be here today because what we are looking at, look, with a mixture of private sector investment and government services under one roof. The construction agreement has been signed, and we cannot wait until we reach the stairs. Thanks to this government for understanding that for economic prosperity, you have to have proper infrastructure. God bless us and God bless infrastructure. God bless us, bless us, bless us. Proper infrastructure. God bless us.
Now, Anne-Marie, the person who put out this video here, but do the video and put it out, needs to be fired. Any one of us can make mistakes. But when you make the mistake and your support team put it out, you need to fire them. So I'm calling on you, Dancing Queen. Fire the person who put out this video here.
And God bless Jamaica language. For economic prosperity, you have to have proper infrastructure. God bless us and God bless Jamaica language.
You cannot have your leader back and your leader make an error and you throw out the video. You need to lose your work. Fire them, Dancing Queen. Fire them. No, listen. Marie, anybody can make mistake. That's all I am saying. Anybody can make mistake. But that's a video that was done by her people. It's not like the one up at Titchfield where everybody did a video. So them couldn't hold that one the back. But this, obviously, was done by her people. You are saying to me that them never hear that? Eh? No, sir. Now this me MP. Disrespecting my MP. People them around her. I disrespect the MP. And I bring embarrassment to the constituency. Dancing Queen, fire the person who put out that video. Send them at them yard. Colin, you are making a big assumption. You are assuming that the video creator is smart. Tala, show me your company. Let me tell you who you are. Tala. I am calling on my MP. Fire them backside. If them not smart, that means they not have the job. If they hear the error and put it out, they not have the job. I am saying to you, Mrs. Anne-Marie Vaz, the person who put out this video must guard the yard. And if you like the person enough and think they make a mistake, suspend them. Suspension. Without pay. Too much right now. Damn foolishness. And them do the video. This video was not a video that was done by a random person. You see that she was videoing it. So my view is that somebody from the action team did the video and put out this video. Hearing the error. They don't mean you're not good, mama.
We are here at the Moran Bay Urban Centre, and the ribbon was just cut by the Prime Minister to open the company. The action team had to be here today because what we are looking at, look, with a mixture of private sector investment and government services under one roof. The construction agreement has been signed and we cannot wait until we reach the stairs. Thanks to this government for understanding that for economic prosperity, you have to have proper infrastructure. God bless us and God bless Jamaica language.
Me no matter what no want say. Our staff, whoever do that needs to be fired.
What has changed now so that we can now bring water in a sustainable way to this community? What has changed is that you now have a government that manages the economy well, and then we use those resources, not borrowed resources, we use the resources from the economy to invest in the infrastructure that delivers the benefit to you. That is what has changed. And so if you are a Jamaican, use the resources from the economy to invest in the infrastructure that delivers the benefit to you.
Raleigh.
That is what has changed.
You hear the Prime Minister?
And so if you
No, I'm not hearing fully. Where am I saying?
Hold on, let me touch it back.
And then we use those resources, not say. What has changed now so that we can now bring water in a sustainable way to this community? What has changed is that you now have a government that manages the economy well, and then we use those resources, not borrowed resources, we use the resources from the economy to invest in the infrastructure that...
So the Prime Minister is saying, morning Ralston.
Morning.
The Prime Minister is saying that when they are doing their water development, they manage the economy so well that they use the resources from the economy, not borrowed money, to do the infrastructure development.
That's a lie.
That's a what?
A lie.
That's a lie.
That's a talking point that his wife himself, well, only both of them, because you know you're the finance minister saying that, yeah.
Because
so that's a lie.
Remember when Julian Robinson said in the budget presentation that some members of the government are saying that they're not borrowing. The finance minister took umbrage to that and said she never said that. So tell us.
Well, that means that she's lying too, because the budget that she read says $150 billion in borrowing.
No, man. Hold on. She is saying that she never said them not borrowing.
Oh, because right. She can't say that because she know that she's borrowing. The Prime Minister and his wife, they're lying.
So, how does this work, Ralston? Because they don't borrow everything that come in at the budget. But to explain to us how the budget and the consolidated fund work as it relates to now doing infrastructure development. Talk to us about
every budget, whether it's Peter Phillips, whether it's Omar Davies, whether it's Arthur Shaw, whether it's Nigel Clark, whether it's Faval Williams, have a borrowing requirement. Because we'll never be able to collect all the revenues that are necessary to fund the budget. So every budget have what we call a public sector borrowing requirement, not only in Jamaica, but in the United States, in Germany, in England, in every country in the world, because you'll never be able to collect all the tax revenues to fund the budget. So that's just rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
So all the money flows into the consolidated fund. So this year they're talking about $949.4 billion in tax and other sources of revenues, $4.9 billion thereabouts in grants, and about $5 billion in non-tax revenues, $158 billion in borrowing, $98 billion from the Jamaican market, and $60 billion from places like Saudi Arabia, bilateral sources, IMF, World Bank, IDB.
So when you get all these money,
all of those money flow into the consolidated fund.
Right. And when they're laying pipe, the money come from out of the consolidated fund.
Yeah, man. So there's no disaggregation as to what comes locally and what comes from overseas, and as to what comes from borrowing, and as to what comes from taxes to deal with the programs of the government.
So for the Prime Minister to say to do this water project, we're not borrowing to do it, is a deception.
Yeah, man. It's not a deception. It's a lie.
It's a blatant lie.
Blatant lie. Yeah, man.
How then you have a Prime Minister, Ralston, that come before the people, looking at the people in face and tell them that kind of lie?
But don't you have a Prime Minister whose financial declarations cannot be certified for 4 years and who carry the people who are supposed to deal with it to court? So what more you need?
Ralston Hyman, which countries are the top countries in the world when you talk about morality and ethics? Which countries you would look at and said these people operate with morality?
Well, we have to talk about the Germany and the Scandinavian countries, because America is out of the loop. America is one of the worst right now. In fact, we are playing in the same playbook with America.
Well, they said that Andrew Holness is the only Prime Minister in the Caribbean who you can put him close to Trump.
Yeah, that's true.
So Andrew is a Trumpian.
Yeah, man, baby Trump.
So in the Scandinavian countries, could Andrew Holness be on the ballot in the upcoming election without him being certified?
No. Only in America that happens, man.
You think that could happen in Barbados?
No.
Trinidad?
No.
Grenada?
Only in America that happens.
So the only place that Andrew Holness could be on the ballot is Jamaica and the US.
And the United States.
What are the requirements, or what are the requirements of a Prime Minister? What would you say a Prime
Minister must be somebody who is not only materially inspirational, but morally and accountably inspiring to the country. That means things like in declaration and money, that's not supposed to be a problem. Things like in integrity and morality, not supposed to be a problem.
So the country's run after taxes, and you are saying our taxes in the budget this year is $949 billion. That will be coming from
$949.4 billion.
$949.4 billion. That will be coming from our taxes. But we have a Prime Minister that the Integrity Commission say file nil report for companies that making money.
Yeah, man.
What can go so?
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. Only in Jamaica those things can work because the people are not interested in accountability.
Is it that the people are not interested in accountability, or is it that the Prime Minister is saying, listen, as I come off of me, this is unfair. They are just trying to.
That is the message that the Prime Minister is trying to send. But I'm saying if the people were interested in accountability, they'd say to the Prime Minister, well, I don't know if they're going to say it yet. They'll say to the Prime Minister, we find that unacceptable.
So the Prime Minister said we're bad mind. That's why we're talking about him. Are you bad mind, Ralston?
Well, the people who are sensible and know how our country run, they would say that is just rubbish, that is street talk.
The Prime Minister also said the dollar is stable, has been the most stable it has ever been. We know that last year, the Bank of Jamaica spent over $1 billion using that to shore up the Jamaican dollar. We know that since the start of this year, we have gone a couple $100 million trying to support the Jamaican dollar. When in Jamaica have we been spending this much to shore up the dollar?
Yeah, I remember. And for the benefit of your listeners who are saying, can't remember. I've been following this thing from every central bank governor. Viata Brown, yeah, Roderick Rainford, Dudley Brown, Jacques Bouvier, Derek Latibodier, work closely with Brian Winter until we have Richard Biles. Also work closely with Biles. So this is the first time I've had to be interviewing so heavily in the foreign exchange market.
And does that constitute the stability that the Prime Minister is talking about?
Yeah, well, the stability is based on interventions, not on market determined. A floating or flexible exchange rate is supposed to be determined by the demand and supply for money. Yeah? What is happening is that the demand is greater than the supply, and the BOJ has to be pumping money in the market in order to try and keep the rate within a certain band. The band is 160, for example, for those who don't know. The BOJ intervened on Wednesday with 30 million. The demand was for 90 million. The BOJ intervened on Thursday with 30 million. The demand was for 73 million. And the BOJ intervened again on Friday with 30 million. And the demand was for 60 million. So there's still a overhang of 30 million in the market. Apart from that, the BOJ also took 15 billion out of circulation on Thursday morning. But the dollar still $159 and change.
So what I am understanding from all that you're saying is that the value of the Jamaican dollar is not real.
No, it has been determined by BOJ intervention in the foreign exchange market. And it can't be because, for example, the trade deficit, the difference between the physical good that we bought and sold to the world last year was 5.2 billion. But we only got 4.88 billion from remittances and tourism. So that couldn't cover the trade gap. So when the market looks at that and the investors look at that and say the money we then pull in from them things then couldn't cover the money that them spend. And when we look, we see that the remittances are shrinking first by the Trump immigration policies where man afraid for even come out and make them see them so the money can't come back. Second, the tariff policies which inflate the economy and make them have less money to spend. So them never have the money to send back. And then them hear the announcement about the tax and remittances which will make it even more difficult.
How that is going to affect Jamaica, Ralston? 5% tax on remittance.
There are three variables. So you have the first variable is the immigration policy.
Right.
Where man afraid to come on road because you can't come on road and send the money unless you identify yourself. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is that life gets harder for the people in America because all of the prices have increased. Yesterday, Walmart don't tell people and say, everything we sell have increased because of the tariffs. So people have less money. And then now you have the tax and remittances, which means for every dollar where the man can find to spend, they're going to take out 5 cents out of it. So less money will come in. So all them things are going to affect the remittance flows, which were already going down. Last year it was 3.128 billion coming from $3.3 billion the year before and almost $4 billion during COVID-19. Remittances are now 17% of GDP from 24% of GDP.
So it's falling.
So the people who are following the numbers, unlike the Prime Minister, they know those things, and that is why they're doing what they're doing in terms of buying down the dollar.
So, Ralston, when Rubio came to Jamaica the other day, have you now figured out why? Because we haven't seen any benefit to the country. What we see
I never come to give it a benefit. The benefit was for one and I say, why not deal with China and why not deal with Cuba? That there was no benefit. It never come to give a benefit. It come to give a warning.
So, if we see the remittance going down, which is one of our biggest foreign exchange, I don't even want to call it...
Not one of our biggest, which is our biggest net source of foreign exchange.
And I don't want to even call it foreign exchange earning because it's not earning.
It's not earning. That's what I'm saying. Biggest source, not earning because we don't earn it.
It's a gift.
Yep.
Well, not a gift per se because it is Jamaicans abroad who are taking care.
Yeah,
of
but that's usually a
business in
source. A source because
So
we
it's
don't
a
earn it.
source.
And it can stop anytime and it can cut down anytime, which is what happened right now.
Where is tourism, Ralston? Is tourism
Tourism,
up?
as I tell you, 1.76 billion.
And are we up or down?
Well, it's flat.
It's flat.
Going in the wrong direction, heading more south down than up.
Let's talk a little bit about what happened Thursday in St. Thomas, Ralston. We saw the opening of the urban center. But when you look over in the United States, you hear Walmart said that they are going to be closing stores. A lot of different companies are closing stores around the world. How will the urban center benefit the people of St. Thomas?
Well, presumably it will bring more jobs. It will bring more companies to St. Thomas because based on what they're saying is that most of the places rented out already. We not doubt that because it's going real estate and everything. So you have more economic activity taking place out there, and the probability of more jobs means that our property values out of St. Thomas are going to increase and all of them things. And you might see some hotels about there and all of that.
But I have a concern with it because when I look at the economy of St. Thomas, the people of St. Thomas, where are they earning this money that they are going to be spending at the urban center?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you, that the urban center itself is going to have a multiplier effect. So if it will carry more business and more people to St. Thomas. So it's more economic activity. So them stand the probability of getting more jobs and getting more income to spend.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I'm going there. I saw a plaza built in Port Antonio, and I tell people all the while the economy in Port Antonio is dead. I saw a plaza built, and Bashko came. I saw when the marina was open. What the restaurant name again, Nats? Norma's. Norma's came to Port Antonio. Within a year, Norma's left. Less than a year, Bashko leave. And I say to my friends that why they had to leave is because the economy in Port Antonio could not sustain those business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but Mr. St. Thomas in a kind of different context in terms of the surrounding areas in terms of economic activity because it's very close to Kingston and East Kingston and the rest of them place to the airport and all of that.
So St. Thomas have a better chance of surviving?
Yeah, strategically, because of where it's located.
Okay. But Port Antonio, where you don't pass through Port Antonio to go nowhere, you know. So therefore, we are going to be having a harder task because you know that they are planning one for Port Antonio.
Right. And
I am saying to them that I don't see where that urban center is going to benefit Port Antonio. I am suggesting to them to develop the East Harbor that we can bring the large cruise ship to Port Antonio.
Okay,
what are your views?
That makes more sense, and that will bring more economic activity.
That's my point to them, that the cruise ship will bring new jobs, and then you can build the urban center.
Yeah, man.
Because then
so
you would have
a kind of sequence. Which one did before? It would be better to do the peer before the one you are talking about. Because that will bring activity to support whatever else they are going to do.
Thank you very much. Now, Ralston, when we look at the Jamaican economy and where we are now, the 2 last quarters of 2024, we saw negative growth. Any news coming out of the first quarter of 2025?
No, not yet. But we soon get that. Maybe in another week or two, we'll get that from PIOJ will always come out first and then start.
And they don't come out yet?
No.
It ended March.
But the best thing PIOJ can tell you is that stagnation.
Stagnation.
That's the best thing. Yeah, that's the best thing them could tell you.
Since 2016, Ralston, what's the highest percentage of growth this country has recorded?
Yeah, we struggle for reach 2%.
We have gotten to 2%?
No, that's what I'm saying. We're struggling.
So since 2016, we have never gotten to 2% growth, not one quarter?
Not till I recall. We come close to as 1.9 on them things.
But we have never gotten to 2%.
Not gotten over 2%, no. 0.9 on them things.
But we have never gotten to 2%.
Not gotten over 2%, no.
So how is it now that they are looking at the third term for this administration?
But remember, when we dropped from COVID-19 by the 12%, 12 to 14%.
Yeah.
When we bounced back by 5 and 6% per quarter, they confused the people and told the people that was growth. They mixed up recovery with growth. I mean, we need to explain it. Yeah.
Yes.
You used to have a man who teach at Harvard University named Gottfried von Habler, come from Germany and everything. So you know, say not the fastest people migrate across the book.
Yeah.
Him develop what you call the production possibility frontier. Where I say it measures the maximum amount of goods you can produce in an economy if you use up all your resources.
Yes.
Now, where I say when you're inside of that frontier, yeah, it means that you are recovering. When you push outside and break the boundaries, it means that you are growing.
Yeah.
So when you drop from 12% from which far you're and gone behind with COVID-19,
yeah.
When you start push out back and recover, you recover. Like in the hospital or in the sick bed, you recover. When you get up out of your bed and start run again, it means that you start grow again.
Right.
What then though is that when we come from the 12% and crawl out of the hole, Nigel Clark is to tell the people them say growth, which was recovery. You follow me?
And we could understand the fall because of COVID.
Because of COVID, yeah, man.
That's understandable. But when we are recovering, don't con the people and tell them that the economy is growing.
That's what they did.
The economy is recovering from COVID shock.
I want for people buy people like Dennis Song, Christian Stokes, yeah.
Is there a band of people, Ralston, who are out to deceive the Jamaican people for this government?
Oh, just I tell you, man, Dennis Song, Christian Stokes, Damian King kind of back off now. Yeah?
Back off.
And the youth when you partner. Yeah, Damian King kind of back off right now.
Because it is destroying his credibility.
As a top man to support them, obviously.
But that destroys your credibility, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course. They just post one thing on social media yesterday, say them invite him at the urban center thing. And when him go, it come like a JLP rally, so he must have left.
After the second speaker, he left.
Mm.
No.
Him start getting embarrassed about the rubbish now.
Tell me something, Ralston. I heard Matthew Samuda saying that the Water Commission will no longer give water sample report to the KSAMC because the KSAMC was destroying Jamaica's reputation. What has the Prime Minister's uncertification, uncertifiedness has done to the reputation of Jamaica? Has that done any damage?
Significant damage. And again, for the listeners who are very political, remember this thing here. Madam Speaker, we're going to leave no stone unturned because what happened to SSL is damaging to Jamaica's international reputation. That was Finance Minister Nigel Clark. And
all no stone unturned yet.
That's the point I'm making.
The Prime Minister turned up. The Prime Minister turned up at Usain Bolt's father's funeral. You think that was appropriate, Ralston, based on the fact that he has not said anything about the man's money that has gone missing?
Well, I mean, I say it's good to do that.
Good?
Yeah. From a moral standpoint, it's really good to do that. You get what I said to you?
Because it's not like he was out there saying, listen, we need to find Usain Bolt money. Can you remember?
That man, I tell you, the man good man. So right away, you know, say a chumps on that man, David Chump. But Chump could have done them thing there.
Just turn up.
Yeah, man.
And said Usain Bolt is an icon. Usain Bolt is an icon and an asset.
Yeah, man.
But the man, $2 billion.
No matter how we talk, not one time ever heard the Prime Minister say, yo, I forgot to deal with that something there. Yeah,
that's what I wanted to ask you, if you can remember hearing the Prime Minister addressing that fact.
No, man. That's why I'm telling you, I'm good. I'm good.
Ralston, you have son?
Yeah?
You have any sons?
Yeah, I have 3 sons, man, 3 economists, man. We have it in the DNA.
hold on, you have 3 sons.
Mm.
How could you, as a father, not be affected by one of your son being robbed $2 billion?
You're mad, man. You must have affected by that, man.
And I just said that to say to you that I believe your Usain Bolt father might have taken that thing to heart, you know, man. Because it's not my son.
It must take it to heart, but hold on. He would have wanted to say dad kill him, but he must take that to heart, man. Even Usain must take that to heart. Losing $2 billion is not a joke business, especially where work hard. Remember, Usain work hard for money, you know.
Yeah.
Big up Jamaica, vomit a man in time when they might train. And them thing they beat the whole world when none of them politicians that can't beat the world and none of them businessmen. The man must feel it to him money, man, and change that, brother. So, and not only the money, the work when does for the country, because Jamaica can't pay Usain Bolt.
And the country is just sitting down and allow the money to go.
That's why I'm telling you, Jamaican people are easy, because everybody should rise up in public anger to make the man get back in money, brother.
Exactly.
You used to notice the bad in us all, even when the man raise the question and then start cussing off. You see Jamaica come on top defend him. That's why I'm just saying Jamaica is a strange place.
Very strange.
Yep.
Because Usain is not my son. And I whole heap of night, I got my bed, I worry. I said, Jesus Christ, what I would do if one of my boy them really put in that kind of work there. And have them money like that. And somebody, and it just goes up.
And nobody no care. No, man, try to say that does go. So the people of Jamaica come like them there, we care. When the man knock pot cover, when the man win. Would just nobody go to go knock pot cover and say, yo, the man to get back in money.
Who are ball when the man win, who are knock pot cover, who are blow hand, who are jump up, who are make sign.
Yep.
And $2 billion. Just
gone.
And
no man say nobody not gonna defend the man. The same people who not the pot cover when the man win. Nobody not go out there and say, yo, the man work hard for money and big up Jamaica, the man needs to get back in money.
Well,
make sure that
I know a lot of people on social media are calling for him to get back his money. A lot of vloggers and bloggers and broadcasters.
But the bloggers are few when they compare to the amount of people in Jamaica, man, who out there. Yeah. Full up stadium when the man are running and they run on TV and the pride where the man bring to the country. Yeah? Now I say even the top man, him should I say, yo, well, them say it and them not make the stone.
Well, I never him say it. The man will say it gone, you know.
Eh?
Remember, so the man will say take away himself.
Yep.
The man will say it
and
gone.
And I get back the money there. The only way man get back the money there are we the taxpayers have to give away in the sue FSC and find them negligible. And we have to pay the taxpayers. Because right now the man them say them only identify 178 million and a so-called compensation fund where they going to pay out at the end of this month. So nobody now get back the money. Especially in fee money too big. Not none of this stuff for nobody.
Does this Ralston rise to the point that we need to demand the FinSac report from this government because of some of the similarities in what happened in the meltdown in the 90s?
But Colin, you know I get that, man. How much time we demand the report and I get that? You know I get that and the next government has to release that. So what the next government release the report? So what if Julian and Mark go down and them release the report?
And let Jamaican people know.
And if the next government release the report, that would be very bad for them if they don't release it.
So you are saying that the next PNP government that we might have within 120 days must release whatever.
If they respect themselves and they respect Jamaica and they respect the former finance minister, Dr. Omar Davies, who has been calling for the report to be released as the man who them are target. If they don't do that, it's a plague upon them all.
Because Dr. Davis told me in an interview on this channel that an interim report was submitted to the GLP administration for them.
Yeah, but they never like what was in the interim report, and that is why they were publishing.
But how them come out every day talking about FinSac? Does these people have any shame?
Remember, tell the man them play out of the same some playbook, man. Them thing don't mean nothing to them, man.
Now, Ralston, how we going to get this economy to move? Because a lot of people don't understand that we are in a dilemma. We are in stagnation. How we
it's
move?
Simple. The people have to make a decision first. Yeah, because everything has to do with leadership. So the people have to make a decision first. Mm-hmm. And then the thing that we need to do, so we need to focus more on the external side of the economy now, generating more foreign exchange to go another work. Mm-hmm. So what they need to do now First, we look on the food and consumer goods import bill. $2 billion, we need for our target, so I cut that by 25% every year.
Yeah.
So we need accelerated land reform, land titling, more investments in our irrigation, laws to deal with pre-day larceny, more tie up the agricultural sector or the tourism sector, so you cut the bill and earn more money. So if you bring in more tourists, you have to have more food to feed them. You can't bring in them in and then you import the food to feed them. You negate the process. Next thing we need to do, and we need to do it right now, we should have do it already, energy. We have to cut the energy bill. That's another $2 billion US. So we have to move to renewable energy. So we have to deal with the JPS license and we'll say, yo, you can't have no long monopoly upon distribution and anything that get. We'll cut the timeline of the license and you can't have a monopoly upon distribution. So I want more incentives to invest in a fun, win, see. Yeah? Then we have to push the creative industries, which can earn foreign exchange without any significant infrastructure. Yeah? So we need to give them some incentives, equipment, and this and that, and get the fund going, the $1 billion fund with them put on paper, but not now run and all of them something.
Right.
We need to get them thing there up and running. Yeah? And we need to look on the education system, yeah, while we need to use the arts better to train the existing workers. So we need to bring out people who qualified for certain things within the school system, fix the system, and those who are already in the labor force, we need to train them up better. You follow me? I said to you?
Yeah.
We need to diversify our trading partners. Xi Jinping got see like with you and I say, yo, we're ready for the whole more phone, you know. Scholarships, this, that. Yeah, so we need to reduce our dependence on America and broaden our vision. Yeah. Look more upon CARICOM in terms of our trading partners and everything there. Yeah. So those are the things that we need to do to get the economy moving. So it now have to be the way it is right now. It depends upon who I manage it and who I run it.
A man in the chat room here, one clown, asking me, did the Prime Minister, well, him no write Bolt, him write, I guess it's a mistake he make, but he wanted to write Bolt's money. And what I want to say to you, Portland 60, I don't know if the Prime Minister take any of Bolt money. All I know is that the Prime Minister gets some money out of SSL just before it closes. So we don't know if it's Bolt money. We don't know how that go. So there are questions that the Prime Minister needs to answer when it comes down to SSL.
Well, just like the FinSac report, then can release the Cole report. Now. Remember, them get a firm name Cole from foreign. And the man write a report and leave it and still no bad know about the report.
Yes, Portland 60. Tell us about the Kroll report. What is in it? Why we can't see the Kroll report on SSL? You see, let me tell you something, Ralston. There are some people in Jamaica that only God knows how them knows they are clean food them for eat. Because when we have issues like these, some people think it will never happen to them. Because maybe they don't have no ambition. But if you are an ambitious person and have big hopes and dreams for your children, what happened to Usain Bolt is not far-fetched. I have some brilliant youth, and I know that anything is possible for them. And that's why I am worried about Usain Bolt's money.
Yeah, but apart from directly, so we have Usain Bolt as a big ticket item in the whole thing. There's also the other people, the old people who put their money in other place.
Yes.
And there's also Jamaica's reputation as a place where you can invest your money and get it back. That's even bigger. Because when the man in the world look on and say, yo, because the man in the world respect Usain Bolt more than we do.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, so when the man in the world look on that and say, yo, if them can take care to them big icon money like that, why would I put money down there, sir? So if you look on the numbers again, foreign direct investment inflows in Jamaica, I'll hear them at that.
Yes.
Was almost $1 billion in 2016.
Yes.
You know what it was in 2024?
$300
million. Come on, I say, yo, would I put the money down there, sir? Because they don't deal with them things properly. Fear crime down there. Yeah, them take with them icon money. So why will I put money down there?
And the government in their last budget presentation are saying that they are expecting $2 billion in foreign direct investment.
Madness, man.
Where it all come from?
Because we never get $2 billion yet in a good time. Some of them always get $2 billion US dollars now.
In a bad time.
$200 million. And that was before Trump starting foolishness and make the whole place uncertainty. So, you don't know what them really are talking about. That's another con. I know more of them not right now.
Ralston, from your vantage point, why are we delaying the calling of the general election?
Oh, come on, man. Everybody knows who I go under the man them camp, man. I see the one part turmoil under the man them camp with Seabright, Samuda, Kinson, Mike Henry, Feder, Joel Williams. Yes, the whole part confusion, man. So they never call it. And then there's also the fact that school are going right now. When they might call it when school up on holiday. So more July, August.
So
which is not.
You think that the position of the economy is also a factor why they're not calling it?
Yeah, man, all of them something. There are three variables. One, the economy, the confusion of them camp, and the whole thing about school and time.
Mm-hmm. Now, going into the election, Ralston, what are some of the big things that you think the people of Jamaica will be looking at to determine where they put their vote?
Well, the people of Jamaica, I tell them what them should be looking at. They right now, them not look at nothing more than the man send the bet on there, and the man them just say, all right, how do I just get up the thing them like what them do yesterday and go there and give them some money and them thing there and them vote. What the people supposed to look on the state of the economy. Very important because as Bill Clinton says, the economy is stupid. Then they need to focus upon and say, yo, we are going to election and we have some man where they on the ballot, especially the top man, where the man not believe in accountability. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What happened to the other persons who are under investigation?
That's why I said them man then, especially the top man, because the top man are the leader of the coup because the other man then follow behind him. Yeah, so the people have to look at that and say if they want a country accountable, they have to take that serious. And then they have to look at the whole thing with the economy. Yeah? They have to look at the whole thing with crime. They have to start just looking at them kind of and look outside in the world and say, yo, the world has changed fast and everything there. Are we ready for deal with the change in the world where take place? So they have to open them eye and start dealing parochial and start dealing with t-shirts and money and man tell them lie. And them labor writer, them are PNP for them bad. Yeah, they have to look for the future. Yeah, the world has changed dramatically, so they have to look for accountability. You have to have ethical leadership right now if you ever succeed. Yeah, so the kind of leadership where are cunning and people can account for what them have and all of them something there. The behavior of Matthew Samuda, the arrogance with which they deal with there and Jacksonville and everything there.
Yeah.
You have to look on the overall thing.
Now, let's look at China and the US and tariff. Trump said it's the most beautiful word, tariff. But we see him backing off. What is going on with that, Ralston?
Yeah, because it miscalculates. If you notice, what China have, for their own culture, is a kind of moral leadership.
Yes.
So if you notice, Xi Jinping is a man who don't for talking, him just act. Yeah, because the man that move off of Chinese culture. So miscalculated Xi Jinping because Xi Jinping tell him from day one, said, anything we're ready for them thing there. So if you're going to deal with trade war, we're ready for war. If you're dealing with military war, we're dealing with military war. Because the day when Trump had Liberation Day, you understand, Mr. Jamaican people now focus. Xi Jinping was in full suit of khaki and had a mock invasion of Taiwan. So when man showed some say, yo, I'm not afraid of you. Me and the talking, they demonstrate here, them demonstrated all kind of equipment. And show them on them. So could I take Taiwan in 10 minutes? You know?
Yeah.
So whatever you're ready for, I'm ready for. That is why when him say, man, I go about to him, Xi Jinping up the tempo and say, me put on 125% for your thing then. And say, I'm serious, I'm going to ignore you. And Xi Jinping tour almost the whole world while Trump up there do a talking and sign all kind of trade deal with Cambodia, Venezuela. He was at sea like I tell the Caribbean, no much more things, more for them, no much more scholarships, so much more training.
Yeah.
So he miscalculated and that's time he got from bomb and say, all right, no go talk. So last weekend them go talking in Switzerland and them say, all right, now reduce the thing back on here to 30%. And Xi Jinping say, all right, we drop back here to 10%. So, and we continue to do the talking. Yeah.
Somebody.
So that's how it's the right to know. But the tariffs in other countries and the 30% was still high. Like Walmart and all of them money, I tell the American people, so we have to raise the prices a minute. We can't absorb all of them things and we put on per week.
Yeah.
So, we raise all our prices.
Donovan is saying to ask you, Colin asks Ralston if this is a football match between PNP against GLP, with the ratio between them, how many players on each side on the football team? I don't know if you understand.
I really understand. I really understand where one question. But this is not a football game between PNP and JLP because you have other Jamaican people, 60% of the people who want a PNP or JLP, but they live in Jamaica too.
Yes.
And they are the ones who are going to decide how the football game end up. Just like our football game, you have the speculators, 11 man on the field. And then home advantage, when you have your own spectators, yeah, them have a big influence on the game. So the people who are uncommitted have a big influence on the game. So we can look on the contracts and just run it on basis of what the PNP or the JLP said. So if we look at what is best for the overall country, yeah, and people can see it. The UNDP last week said, apart from Haiti, Jamaica have the worst living standard in the Caribbean.
No, how that Ralston.
That's not good.
I want the laborers to tell me now how you work with that. I know me said that, and Ralston said that. It is the UN said that. How comfortable are you with that?
Yeah. The worst apart from Haiti, I don't know what I keep company with. Man, I think I'm madness, man.
Ralston, $54 million worth of fertilizer that came from Morocco to assist our farmers. Not accounted